Hi, Christy here. I'm in my own Akashic Records, and my jumping off point for today is medical anxiety. A friend of mine today posted on Facebook that she's found a breast lump. And of course, that brings up all sorts of things, right? And another friend of mine is there's some nodules that were found on her lungs, and now they've referred her to a pulmonologist. And in my case, I have a project called narrow angle glaucoma in my eyes, and it's now been suggested or really required for me to have cataract surgery on one of my eyes. So I wanted to explore a little bit in the records about how we manage with uncertainty, particularly medical uncertainty. Because whatever exists already exists, right? If the person has breast cancer, or if the person has some issue with their lungs, in my case, I know what's going on. In my case, if you have an attack, an event with narrow angle glaucoma, you can go blind in a matter of hours. So that brings up anxiety. So I want to look from the records perspective for suggestions on how we manage when things are a little iffy, perhaps dire, perhaps not. Because so often we get back information that goes, oh, not so bad, or oh, this is something we can do something with, or sometimes it's not. But it doesn't mean that it's wrong or bad, or that we're off track and on our life's purpose and so on. It just means there's a project, there's something for us to, dance with. Not in the necessarily happy dance, but in the, all right, we're partnering with this as we grow and evolve. And I think that's the real message I'm getting here in the records, is this idea that we all face obstacles and difficulties, and we never know exactly what's going to happen. And the more we can sort of make peace with whatever is going on, what we do know about, and sort of shelve the things that we don't know yet. Like it already is what it is. And then can we sort of be with the not knowing what it is quite yet until it is revealed. And to also, they're reminding me, not always take it too seriously. Because I have another friend who hurt her knee, possible surgery, but it's getting better on its own. I say on its own. She's doing a lot of Jyutsu, the ancient healing art that I practice. So this piece around something's wrong or bad if we have some sort of medical thing go on, that there's somehow we fail. The whole idea of like, a person's moral standing has been compromised. If, like for a healer, someone who does healing work, healing practitioner, to get sick, that's why you didn't practice your own things. And I go back to, it could have been a lot worse, perhaps, if they weren't practicing those things. Maybe they would have expired sooner, or maybe something would have been more dire. We don't really know. This idea of doubling down on people. And I think part of that's like, that gives us a sense of efficacy. Like, if it is under our control, then we feel less anxious. That's what's showing up here in the record. So we really like the idea that we not only are to blame, but we also are the saviors of ourselves, which we can have a huge influence on outcomes between diet and exercise and doing things like breast self-exams to catch things early. We do have an impact, but also there's a lot of mysterious things in the universe we do not understand. So it's being appropriately responsible and surrendering both. It's the inhale and the exhale. These things happen simultaneously, and well, not inhale and exhale, but you have this pattern of it going back and forth, and allowing us to be with both things. And your future you will be with whatever arises medically or otherwise, whether it's with you, yourself, family members, children. That's a particularly hard one, of your own children. But we are wired to be able to cope. We just forget that sometimes. I think that's a good reminder from the records. All right, I think that's enough for today. I'd love to hear in the comments below a time where you had some medical anxiety and were able to soothe yourself in the moment. Or perhaps looking back, you said, oh, that wasn't such a big deal. But at the time, not so great. All right, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And in the meantime, please go be brilliant.